It was the media, and in particular radio, that played a crucial part in the Rwandan genocide. The question the media now face is how they can justify a free and independent press and prevent a resurgence of hate messages that were broadcast during the 1994 genocide.
For messages that the government was afraid of putting out under its label, they set up Radio Mille Collines. And this was basically an extremist radio that openly called for killings. We had open calls for people out on the streets to go and kill Tutsis. Without the media, without the role that the media played in the 1994 genocide, you would say perhaps we would have had maybe half the casualties or even less.
As a result, people now view their media with a deep level of suspicion. There is little trust left for journalists that only a few years ago had been encouraging Hutus to kill Tutsis.
There were rumors in the south of the country that the government had constructed some giant killing machines that would kill ethnic Hutus, 1,000 of them in a few minutes, 20 minutes or so. These rumors took root, and they could not be just dismissed by the media here, even though they were all false, because the trust in the media is very low.
La Benevolencija, a non-governmental organization that promotes reconciliation, is one of a few groups taking up the enormous challenge of trying to restore some trust and credibility in the media.
It is easier to formulate hate messages. They promise a solution to problems by eliminating somebody. It's much more difficult to create solutions to problems by constructing something. That's always more complex, so you need a longer time to build longer, more elaborate messages. So, but we are here because we believe in that.
Their weekly radio soap, Musekaweya, portrays a picture of Rwanda before the 1994 genocide. Edith Iwinzenea knows the play is changing attitudes by the way people in her village have reacted. Another international media organization, Internews, which trains journalists, also produces documentaries looking at issues of reconciliation and justice. They hold regular screenings at communities, prisons and solidarity camps.
These screenings are very important because they facilitate people having access on real information, because there are images and testimonies from the people they know, from people from their villages.
Today, when you walk around Rwanda, you don't see any evidence of sectarian violence. Everything seems peaceful. Yet the deep-rooted trauma of the genocide lies beneath the surface. It's impossible not to have to ask what influence the media really have.
As the media builds its credibility, then its role is going to become more and more important.
We went with Internews to a regular screening being held at Ramagana Solidarity Camp. Every one of the men you see here was involved in the genocide. Some of them have been in prisons and camps for almost 8 years. The villages that they left behind have changed beyond their recognition. Their biggest fear is that they will never be accepted back into society. They are worried that the relatives of their victims will want to avenge them. These films are one of the few links they have with the outside world. They deal directly with the rumours and prejudice that in the past have sparked conflict and violence. Many of the men in the Solidarity camp knew this man and the crime he committed.
There was a person from their family whom I kept at my home. It was their elderly aunt. When she was discovered at my place during an attack, I have been forced to kill her myself. I first hesitated, but I finally did it.
He tells me, it is me. I'm coming to you to apologize. I nearly went mad because it took him 4 years to tell me this. Give me time to think about it.
Some of the inmates realized that by confessing their crimes and by facing up to their past, they might have a chance of assimilating back into their communities. Communities which only a few years ago, they were responsible for ripping apart through violence.
He's saying that this film was very helpful to him, because now he's sure that once he's going back to society, he will meet those survivors. Maybe it will be hard for them to forgive him, but with time it will come up.
Yet it is radio that really brings media to the masses. over 90% of the population have access to it. We went to La Benevolencia radio listening clubs. The aim of these groups is to bring people together to talk about the radio play, Musekawaya. They're a kind of focus group to find out if people really understand what the play is all about. Iragena Bashir thought that Musekawaya had arrived just in time, as he felt the country had been broken by war and its consequences. Mukabelisa Zavarine said that the play dealt with many of the problems facing Rwanda, including a blind respect for authority and political leaders. Yet could these weekly radio soaps and documentary screenings really change people's outlook?
It is extremely difficult to change the attitude and the behavior of people after only 1 or 2 years of radio broadcast and listening to these type of programs. It will take a lot more time to get everybody on track and create a sentiment of reconciliation.
Rwandan journalist Gabriel Gabiro went to the village of one of the most notorious genocide perpetrators responsible for thousands of deaths and sentenced to 25 years in prison.
I was shocked that over 80% of the people I spoke with thought that that was too harsh. Most thought he should have been given 6 months, 1 year, or he should have even been forgiven. So if you had a freedom of expression in this country, you would have had people on the streets demonstrating in support of someone that was responsible for killings of thousands of people. We can't have it all opened up the same way it is in the United States or in the West or elsewhere overnight. But I think the most important thing is to see steps of opening up.